Good afternoon, Democrats. Today is this March the 6th, Monday, and I hope that you have had a good Monday so far. Obviously, I'm not Alicia Andrews. I'm Scott J. Hamilton, and I'm always happy to sneak in a little extra time with Democrats during the week. Alicia had a meeting that was at the very last minute rescheduled, and so that's why she's not with you today. But we're going to explore what it was that she wanted to talk about today. And that is, imagine if Oklahoma had a governor and a legislature that cared about all Oklahomans. Can you imagine what that would look like? Well, frankly, it's been so long since we've seen it, it is kind of hard to imagine. But when I say caring about all Oklahomans versus a few, the governor has again and again promised big things, promoted us as a top 10 state, which nothing could be further from the truth. But in his big State of the State speech, the thing that got him the most applause of all was the fact that he was committed to lowering income taxes for all Oklahomans. That was a standing ovation moment. Everyone was thrilled with that. The only problem is it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Now he's saying, well, it doesn't look like we can afford to do this tax credit for school vouchers and a tax cut for everyone. So he's going with the school vouchers. Now, let me remind all of us that his tax cut program for parents whose children are going to private schools affects 8% of Oklahoma school children, and that's children K through 12, 8%. He's willing to sacrifice a state income tax cut for all Oklahomans to appease 8% of the students' parents. Now, make no mistake, this is going to almost certainly benefit people in urban centers more than any other place in the state. And that is not the way our state government should be operating. Why should someone who does not live in Oklahoma City or Tulsa or surrounding community need to be paying for credits on someone else's taxes so that they can continue to send their kids to private schools? Now, it's clear that $5,000 a year will not cover the cost of tuition in a public school. And so this is just a nod to richer folks who just can use an extra $5,000 in their pocket. Now, imagine instead if we had an income tax cut for all Oklahomans. What would that do to the average Oklahoma family? Well, for one thing, it may make it more affordable for Oklahoma families to actually be able to afford rent in an affordable community that's safe to raise a family in. But that's not the goal of this governor. It's not the goal of this state superintendent of public education. And sadly, it's not the role or the goal of our Republican legislators. Our Democratic legislators in the House and the Senate are fighting every day for common sense things that will help all of us. And that's the difference between the two parties in Oklahoma right now. Republicans here, for whatever reason, take the worst elements of legislation from other states and bring it to Oklahoma. We've all heard about the Sturm and Drang over drag shows. Well, we have a state senator who was lambasted on TV last week for claiming the government has a right and the responsibility of protecting children, so he said. And that was true, except when it came to gun control. And he wanted no part of protecting kids' lives then. This is what I mean about a government that truly protects, who truly cares for, and truly empowers all of us in Oklahoma. Now, thankfully, the Biden administration has done a tremendous job of enabling cities and towns that are not in major metropolitan areas in our state to move forward. The infrastructure package alone is taking care of roads and bridges that have so long been neglected. And our governor is trying to claim credit for the broadband expansion in parts of Oklahoma that currently have no options. That's something that would improve the lives of everyone in our state. But he's not doing it. That's the Biden administration. So, the purpose of even discussing this today is to say we must remain awake to what is being done to us and what is not being done for us. If we had a governor who cared about people, we wouldn't still be talking about this long drawn out process of eliminating the state grocery tax. Now, that may not seem like a big deal, but if you're a family of four and you go to the grocery store every week, and on top of the cost of your groceries, almost 5% more goes to pay the state. That's 5% more food you could buy, or 5% more that you could be spending in other areas. It would help to grow the economy in regions far beyond Oklahoma City and Tulsa. This is an idea first proposed by then Minority Leader Emily Virgin. It was a well thought out plan, had no support from the governor. And then when he thought of it as his idea, he became very excited. And yet here we are still talking about it. There are no plans in place to make it actually happen. And that is discouraging. And frankly, I find it disgusting that we can't move in a way that would help all Oklahomans. We just passed legislation that will, out of one house and going to the next, that would allow for reduced sentences for cockfighting. Now, how many of us are involved in cockfighting? How many of us will benefit from this? Well, sadly, not many people will benefit from this, only a few. And it's a sport, and I use that term very, very loosely. It's a sport that should be outlawed and the punishment should be extreme. That's my personal opinion because I don't like cruelty to anyone or anything. What would it be like if we had a governor, if we had senators and representatives at the Capitol who cared about all Oklahomans? That's a goal for us to keep in mind as we move forward toward next year when we have an opportunity to make substantial changes in our legislature. We unfortunately are stuck with Stitt right now, but we can make changes that would make it impossible for him to simply ramrod everyone and everything across the board that suits his will, that suits his purpose, and benefits his friends. Janice says even billionaires will benefit from eliminating the state portion of the grocery tax. And that's exactly right, Janet. It's something that everyone would benefit from. I don't care if you shop at your local grocery store that's owned by the same family for generations, or you shop at Walmart or Whole Foods, wherever it is, when you buy food, if we could eliminate that tax, everyone benefits. And that is something that should disgust all of us. And it's something that should cause all of us to pick up the phone, call our legislators and say, pass this now. It benefits everyone. Speaking of that, every time you read something coming out of our legislature, ask yourself, does this benefit the majority or a small minority? If it's the latter, then please call, write, visit your legislators. I know it can seem like a daunting task, and frankly, it can seem overwhelming, and you just walk away from it, but we can't afford to do that. Instead, as long as we're here, we have to make our voices heard. And believe me, if enough of us raise our voices and we put enough of our legislators on the run, we'll see changes in the way that they behave and the way that they legislate. So imagine if we had a governor and a legislature for all of Oklahoma. Hang on to that image because together I believe it's something that we can affect. and something that we can make happen. Well, before I go today, I want to thank you for spending a few minutes with me, and I encourage you to join me tonight for the Hamilton Report. We are hearing from more people every day who are leaving Oklahoma, and I want us to collectively take a look at why they are fleeing the state and where they're going, what their trepidations are, their concerns. And that all happens tonight at 6:30 on the Hamilton Report. You can watch it from the Facebook, Oklahoma Democratic Party Facebook page, our YouTube page, or from my personal Facebook page. And I hope that you will not just join us tonight, but actually join in the conversation, because I want to hear what you think as well. And finally, before we end this time together, I want to share Jana Lewis's comment that on Thursday, March 23rd, please mark that in your calendar. If at all possible, plan on joining our Women's Federation at the state capitol for an advocacy day, a day when we can talk together with our legislators about issues that impact and affect women of all ages in our state. This is an open invitation. You certainly don't have to be a woman to be a part of this effort. As a matter of fact, I will be there, and I hope that as many men will show up as possible in support of our women and the fact that Oklahoma was ranked 51st as places to live for women. In other words, dead last. Well, I know that that's not a very encouraging message to begin the week, but I hope it's one that gets us thinking and one that will hold us to a higher standard as we move forward in recruiting new candidates, in supporting new candidates, and electing new Democrats to office next year. And finally, tomorrow across the state, you have the opportunity to vote for or against recreational use of marijuana. I hope that you'll take advantage of that opportunity and truly vote tomorrow. It's important. Well, I'll be back here tonight at 6:30 with the Hamilton Report, and I hope to see you then. And Alicia Andrews will be back tomorrow at 4:15 in her regular spot for the Chair's Daily Live. Until this evening, have a great afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you tonight, and take good care. So long.